Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience. I've heard from the chair, and we should be starting in about 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you.
apologize for my tardiness. We're going to get started here as soon as I'm told. Thank you all for being so patient and kind this morning. Councilmember Hunter is always the most responsible committee member, so we're so blessed. Good morning, Prince George's County. This is our second budget hearing for the Public Safety, Health, and Human Services Committee. At this time, myself, Chair of the committee, Councilmember Fisher, and Councilmember Danielle Hunter are present. We are not at a quorum of 3 council members, but as these are budget briefings, we can continue as an informational session. And now I will turn over to our committee director to introduce our first item, which is the Orphans Court.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you mentioned, we'll start with the Orphans Court, and I see Chief Judge Wendy Cartwright is seated at the table, and when it's time, I'll let her introduce the rest of her team. Presenting the budget report today is Mr. David Williams, our Legislative Budget and Policy Analyst. Mr. Williams, when you're ready.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is David Williams with the Budget and Policy Analysis Division. Here's a brief overview of the Orphans Court fiscal year 2027 proposed budget. Here you can view the agency, organizational chart, mission statement, and some core services. Here's a small list of the agency's key priorities headed into fiscal year 2027. The proposed budget for fiscal year 2027 stands at $654,700, representing a 3.7% increase from the previous fiscal year. Compensation is listed at $452,500, and operating expenses are set at $66,000. The agency staffing complement stands at 8 full-time civilian positions. The agency notes only 2 vacant positions for fiscal year 2027. Here's a comprehensive breakdown providing data points on the agency's service delivery regarding estate and guardianship cases. And that concludes my budget presentation. Thank you very much.
Do I turn back to you or should I just continue? Okay, now I'll turn to the Honorable Judge Cartwright. It's great to see you here, Your Honor. Thank you. If you can just press the button and you can pull, yep. Yeah, and then can you pull it towards
Hello?
Judge, please, Chief Judge for me. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all for having us, and I happen to have with me my wonderful, you're getting the creme de la creme of our Orphans Court. Let me introduce our judges. This is the Honorable Athena Malloy Groves, the Honorable Jason Deloach, our wonderful budget preparer and office captain, Ms. Jennifer Rydell, Really runs the office and works diligently with Roe to to troubleshoot and keep things going and flowing, et cetera. And we can't speak enough about her. Her work is exemplary, and she is really serving three judges. It's one bench, but it's three separate judges, and that's a lot. When you only have basically yourself and two other staff members. But we also do have joining us this year a clerk. Our courtroom clerk has been elevated. Does she have a new position?
Our courtroom clerk was elevated to the, sorry, Ms. Earl, if you can use the microphone. Sorry. Our courtroom clerk was elevated to the ADR coordinator. So we've been able to fill that position that was left vacant over a year ago. And then we've now hired a new courtroom clerk. She started with us towards the end of March, and she's excelling well. She came in with no experience, so we're just getting her, introduced to the courtroom and getting all of that moving.
She's very. We are happy to have her. She is a Maryland graduate. She is a graduate of Towson State. She have if I'm right, she was at Towson.
Correct.
But she has a series of unique skills. She is a second degree proficient in Japanese. And she's also had a myriad of experiences working with people in the public. She worked at BWI. She worked at a variety of different places where she had hands-on with the actual public and consumers. And BWI, working in a place with folks that are trying to get through BWI, that's pretty high stress, and you get some very good consumer interaction with those kinds of people. And so we are really glad to have her. She's very bright, and she's very keen to learn. And so we're just happy to have her, and we're happy to be able to now get our ADR program coordinator back so that we can kind of get on the roll. That's kind of been
Chief Judge,
going.
can you just, because the public and not everyone knows what ADR is,
Oh,
so
sure.
you can, for alternative dispute.
ADR is Alternative Dispute Resolution. It is a device and that is used throughout all the courts. It is used in most likely in family law, civil law. In fact, it's required in family law cases where people who have custody and they have property are court ordered to go there. Several years ago, we believed that this was a good idea for this county to have its own ADR program. We did not have anyone on this side of the state. Baltimore County and Baltimore City had one. Now Baltimore County actually is kind of running its own. And so we have, Baltimore County has its own, Orphans Court has its own program. We were the first here to have, in this side, the southern part of the state, to have its own Orphans Court ADR program. And because I think that the same issues that appear that and are the cause of disputes between families can be resolved many times when the families are in an environment where they can sit down with the mediator and reach their own decisions. And it's a working model. It works. We've had we use our circuit court mediators and circuit court collaborative training. That's another type of mediation and resolution, but it's all in the process of out of court for purposes of the parties to sit down, try to resolve any differences they can so that they save money in terms of not going to litigation. And if they can resolve the whole thing, then great. If they can't, they can do it partially, and then they still cuts down on court time. And and funds. The estate corpus remains intact when you can settle stuff out of court. But if you go to court and you litigate, what's owed, I mean, the state corpus goes down. So at the end, you might win, but if there's no money left in the estate, that's not a win. We're trying to preserve estate assets for decedents and inheritances while getting good resolutions. So that is a part of our program that I'm hoping that we are, well, it's going to grow now that there's a variety of things that we can work on in terms of getting our numbers up in that area. But I can tell you during COVID, we did video ADR mediations where people were separate, but we still continued to do them through a mediator on video. And so it does work. So that's what ADR is.
Thank you. Does that conclude your presentation, Chief Judge?
Yes, except if anyone has any questions
Yeah,
for me. But
I will turn to that. Is there anything that our other honorable judges would like to add to the presentation today? Before I go to questions? Judge Gross, Ms. Rydell.
It's up to you. And I guess you can advise us. The judges would like to still discuss their salary increases, which
Sure.
we know has been presented to the county exec as well. So I know that that's one of the topics that they wanted to just discuss with you guys. And so I don't know if you want them to say that or your questions first, but please.
Yes. Well, Councilmember Hunter, do you have a question at this time that you would like addressed before we go into that?
Good morning, and thanks for being here. The presentation noted that the ADR program has been without funding and staffing, but I did hear that you did bring someone on. What has the operational impact has been, and
well, we have basically before we had a coordinator a while back, and then that person moved on further and was appointed in another area of the county. But so we were without a coordinator to actually kind of keep things going. Instead, we did that pretty much in-house. The court, the rules were changed to allow judges to appoint mediators for cases. Instead of asking people, would you please go to mediation, we could order them to mediation in areas and cases where we believe after critiquing and preparing cases that we would know that they were more likely to get resolutions, so that we can order, actually by statute, we can order parties to mediation. So it's kind of continued in that vein. We were also part of that group that went to the subcommittee and had asked for the rules to be changed for that purpose. And that was wow, that probably had to be at least 4 or 5 years ago now. So that has been helpful in terms of assisting us when we didn't have an ADR coordinator. So it kept going, but it just has gone at a slower pace until when you have an actual ADR coordinator that can really meet with the judges and say, okay, well, what goals do we want to really have? Instead of judges screening cases on their own, that slows the process down. But if you have an ADR coordinator that meets with the judges and says, I've got this set of cases that I think you all need to look at, it just helps to keep things more efficient in terms of operations. So,
And if I can add, we actually promoted the courtroom clerk, like I said, to that ADR coordinator. So that actually helps us to try to, once she's completed the training aspect that I have her doing with the courtroom clerk, the new one, then she'll be able to, seamlessly kind of go back into this other position. I've had to do that position while we haven't had the funding for over the year. So that's been very difficult for me, just trying to manage the office, the short staff, and all the other components, trying to do the best that we can to keep these cases moving with either by the judges saying send them or the parties requesting it. So it's been a little bit difficult, but it definitely will get back on track. Hopefully within the next few months, getting her retrained, getting her to understand the ADR, the alternative resolution dispute component, and what that means and what that does. So hopefully the program will continue to flourish, if not return back to those numbers where it was.
Is that it?
Yes.
Councilmember Richard? Okay, so before we continue, we've been joined by our council chair, Chair Oriata. So we, Mr. Clerk, Madam Clerk, could you just take attendance so we could be in full committee? Sorry.
Madam Chair,
Present.
Councilmember Hunter,
Here.
Councilmember Oyata,
Here.
3 present.
Thank you. Now we're in quorum. And yes, Judge Groves, Judge Deloach, you want to talk about the salary increase and we can dive into that?
Yes, thank you so much. Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Councilmember, Madam Councilmember. My name is Athena Malloy Groves. Just to piggyback off of what Judge Cartwright said about our outstanding court, it's a pleasure for me to have served on the Orphans Court now for this is my 20th year. It's Judge Cartwright, and we're so pleased to have Judge Deloach, who has joined us. He's been with us now for 5 years now. That time has gone by really fast. And of course, we are very grateful to have Jennifer Rydell serve as our Chief of Staff in our office. The last time, and we are here, Judge Deloach and I are joining Chief Judge Cartwright to make a request for salary increases. The last time we had a salary increase the last time we made a request was 2018, and it went into effect in 2019. That was, since the 20 years that I've been on the bench, that's the only time that there has been a salary increase. It was approved, whatever we requested back in 2018 was approved by the Budget, County Council, and the County Executive. But at that time, we had to go through the General Assembly as well for the increase to be approved. They did not approve what we had requested. They offered something much lower, and I had to negotiate a compromise. And so where we are now is the compromise that was negotiated with the General Assembly. Now, since that time, the statute has been amended where the General Assembly no longer has to be involved, and we just have to make a request that is approved by the County Council and County Executive. Right now, we are making did you want what we're requesting? So we are requesting a $30,000 increase for all judges each. And again, this would put us in line with our colleagues in, well, right now, what we know that our colleagues in 2 other jurisdictions have been approved at, that will double what our current salary is. So 2 jurisdictions will be making double what we currently make. One jurisdiction, and their dockets are, one is comparable to ours, another is not quite as much as ours. And then there's another jurisdiction whose docket is nowhere near ours, but makes more than we do right now. So we are requesting to be more in line with our colleagues in the other 2 jurisdictions, even though with a 30,000 increase, it still won't be as much, but it will still be more comparable to what the other jurisdictions are getting. And it would be to compensate for the increase in caseload and in workload that we have seen since 2019, and the complexity of the cases that we have. I think there may be a note that we have a few that our caseload is a little bit lower than last year, I believe. However, that is to make room for the more complicated cases that we have that would last longer, that would take up a full day on a docket, as opposed to having multiple cases in on a docket. Every once in a while, we have to have cases that will take 1 or 2 days where we have to use the entire day for the case. So that would explain why the numbers may be a little bit lower from last year. So, but we still do believe that, hopefully, that the county council, and this request is also before the county executive, that it would be approved for us to have a salary increase of $30,000 each.
Understood. Thank you so much. Judge, do you have anything you want to add?
Good morning, Jason
Good to
Deloach.
see you.
Good to see you again. I just want to back up what you said and make sure that we understand.
Judge Groves, could you turn off your mic? Because
One raise in 20 years, and that raise that they did receive at the time was $8,000. So over the 20 years, there's been an $8,000 raise. I haven't done the research, but I'm sure there are not many county positions that have received only one raise over 20 years, and that raise being 8,000 over those 20 years. So we very respectfully ask for an increase to be in line with what other courts around the state who are comparable and similarly sized and from an activity standpoint are similar to ours. So.
Totally understood. Mr. Tuck, do we have anyone here from Office of Finance from the budget? Oh, OMB, yes. Okay, so my question is, I'm sorry, you didn't have your name tag, so I didn't know if you were, which side you were from. Can you introduce yourself quickly?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Andrew Savage, budget analyst, Office of Management and Budget.
So,
Apologies. Sometimes,
Oh.
receive a placard, sometimes haven't. So,
no, that's okay. So my question is, if you can, I'm in the budget book on page 312. It has for an FY compensation expenditure of 3.8. Would that 3.8 increase meet the $90,000 that the three judges are asking for, or where's OMB on that? Or what is that for? If you could explain that to me.
certainly. So the 3.8% is for just, again, as noted, the annualization of FY26 and then planned FY27 salary adjustments. But to answer directly, it does not include that salary increase.
Okay. And I guess, go ahead, Madam Chair. Chair Oriata?
Just so I'm understanding, you say salary adjustments, like when we see COLAs. I just want to understand what you mean. So they do get the standard COLA increases so when you say salary adjustment, I just want to understand what you mean.
Just for the record, the three judges are exempt from any COLAs and merits. So any COLAs and merits for the salary adjustments and
Just for all the
that would just be for staff.
So you're saying that includes everyone else's adjustments?
Just staff, we are
Right.
exempt.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct. That's correct, Councilmember.
Okay. We'll be working on this. Okay. Noted, heard, written down. Chair of the council's here.
If I may just say, I don't usually like to talk about this, but I've been honored to be on this bench since 2001. So I've been here 25 years this year. And I have been blessed to have worked with such honorable and extremely talented attorneys and judges who have gone well above and beyond. We have stepped into the 21st century, and a lot of the things that have been accomplished, if I could give you a sheet of what has happened, are because of this court taking the lead to get things for our court, which elevates other Orphans courts. Because when we asked for online research, we got online research, but so did every other court in the state. When we asked for the ability to go to class and get continuing education, believe it or not, we didn't have that in 2001. We had to go, and Judge Groves and I approached Judge Bell and asked to be able to be included just to go to continuing ed. This is during my tenure. So think about how long all those other years they didn't have to go. We received that permission as well. Again, it helped our clientele, our state, our county benefited, but so did the state. We didn't do it because necessarily, we're trying to do the whole county thing. We did it because our county needed these services. Our people, our constituents needed these resources. And that's why we spent time doing that along with everything else that we do. So just a little snapshot about what's been going on in Orphans Court. But I always welcome, I give free tickets every year when I come. Please come and see us. Jennifer can tell you when we are sitting, but it would be good for you to come and just sit in and for one docket to just kind of see what we do. a lot of these cases now are more, I would call pro se oriented, where you have fewer attorneys representing clients, which can make things a little more difficult for pro se, clients and parties. However, so you have to take that into account. But by the time we're sitting to hear caveats, which are will contests, and sitting to hear why they believe that people should be, removed from being a personal representative, those cases take a long time. They take maybe 1 to 2 days. And then there are the classic cases that we still have going on. NASA versus Green is still alive, and that's actually a case that went from it's been going on for now 1993. Yeah, well before we got there.
And Your Honor, before we conclude your briefing, I was curious, my other life, when I was a delegate, I worked with Senator West to make our wills and trusts and estates digital, and then you're able to do it online in COVID. So it was like a big year of my life working with them, figuring that out with them. Learned a lot on wills, trusts, and estates that, I don't typically do. I was just wondering, has the ability to do that virtually or online has helped you all, or has not been helpful?
You're talking about the ability to create a will
Online,
virtually.
mhm.
So we haven't had that come before us. Most people still do it handwritten
Okay.
or typewritten. That's the preferred way to do it because it's really complex. If you worked on that bill.
Yes,
You know,
it is
a
a
lot-
complex step to get it
yeah.
done. So I was just curious if
No,
anyone's
that
using
has
it.
not. I have, at least not before me. I don't know if the other judges have seen that.
Yeah.
There's been one instance where someone came before me and said that they had done it, but they didn't do it correctly.
Mm.
So I couldn't let the will in.
Okay.
So
Good to know. Okay. Well, thank you. Well, if you all have anything else to add, I hear you, and I'll be working on this. Yes, so you are dismissed
Thank you so much
for your FY27 budget hearing.
today.
Thank
You
you.
all have
Thank
a
you,
great day.
Honorable Cartwright. And at this time, we'll have Mr. Tuck turn to our next agency presentation.
Next is the Department of Family Services, and we'll be joined by the director, Ms. Alana Balam Butler, and her team.
And what's it? I
I'm
know,
sorry,
I
I
have
went
a
out of
cousin.
order. Arts and Humanities Council is next.
Oh, Arts and
Her
Humanities.
team,
Okay.
excuse me.
And then Mr. Andrew, is that your name? From OMB? Are you here for everyone for OMB? Oh, so each one has a different one. Got it. Okay. I guess I just need a OMB tag because they rotate each staff. Okay.
And now we'll have a report from Mr. Isaiah Joseph, Legislative Budget and Policy Analyst from the County Council. Can we pull up his presentation?
Okay, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. So today I will be going over the fiscal year 2027 Arts and Humanities proposed budget overview. So mission and core services are highlighted on page 741 of the proposed overview. Highlighted on page 742 of the budget book is the strategic focus. So as far as the fiscal year 2027 budget summary, the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget is approximately 1.76 million, representing an increase of 114,000 or 6.9% over the fiscal year 2026 adopted budget. There is no change in compensation from the fiscal year 2026 budget at about 646.6 thousand, and changes in fringe benefits are also remain the same from the fiscal year 2026 budget at about 1,400,000. As far as the proposed federal cuts, the displayed cuts are expected to have an anticipated opportunity impact on the Arts and Humanities Council. The proposed fiscal year 2027 staffing levels are comprised of 7 full-time positions. As far as key risk and mitigation strategies, these key risks include continued funding uncertainty, staff capacity constraints, economic conditions impacting sponsorships and private investments, and partnership coordination challenges across certain sectors. As for the mitigation strategies, diversifying revenue streams and strengthening fundraising, implementing a phased program based on available resources, and expanding partnerships to share costs and responsibilities. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, now I'll turn to the CEO of our Arts and Humanities Council, Ms. Rhonda Dallas. If you can just press the button. Mr. Gonzalez, can you help her? Thank you.
Good morning, Council Chair, Councilmember Fisher, Councilmember Hunter. I'm going to refrain from speaking that much. I have pollen issues that are going on. We thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to come before you. The two areas that we most urgently need funding would be for the film office and also for increase in our staffing capacity. Our partnership coordination is extremely good. One of the things that we have been able to do with the Arts and Humanities Council in advancing our programming is focused on collaboration. And so we have very strong partnerships, not just with other agencies, but also community organizations. One of my team members, Sherry, if you'd like to speak to our grant program, that would be the third area that we are always advocating for more funding.
Thank you very much. We are really fortunate for the County Council support of the Prince George's Community Grants Program. It is the primary and sole source of funding for individual artists in the county, and it has been quite vulnerable over the last few years, especially since 2021, because of fluctuations in funding that we have received. This particular year, with federal funding, we have been very fortunate to receive funding from the NEA that for FY25, we appealed and received that grant for FY25 or 26. But it does require matching support from the County Council. And so when there are fluctuations with that, sometimes we are not able to effectively implement that grant if we do not have that funding for FY. So we just completed our round and you all will be hearing more about it, but For FY27, the changes in federal funding are quite severe. We did receive a grant from NEA, an increase of 60,000, but they changed it so that we are no longer able to fund individuals. It's organizations only. That funding is dependent on the county council providing budget support for that. Right now, we are 50% at the level that we were in 2021 as of FY25 from 300,000 to 100,000. But with the increase, we really do hope to receive an increase in funding, not just to match the grant, which is almost unheard of, but speaks to the quality and perceived impact that we are having in Prince George's County in the creative community. But also, we need additional support for our individual artists. They are the ones that allow in their communities the ability to provide free, direct, community-based programs and support throughout the county. And some support the county and others support various districts in South County, Central County, and in North County as well. So we are grateful for your continued support, but this, because of the changes in federal funding, it does make us quite vulnerable, especially when we also receive fluctuations in funding at the county level. Thank you.
And if I can also add, the individual artists, we always look at our artists as small businesses. And Keisha, if you can expound on the creative economy piece and how we are doing so much technical assistance with getting our artists ready to be thriving artists, as well as our advancement of the film industry in Prince George's County and the region.
Absolutely. Again, we thank you all for your support. The film office is underneath the Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council, and the film industry within Prince George's County is a burgeoning industry that we want to support and continue to have that expertise to be able to support our filmmakers and our creative entrepreneurs. We provide technical assistance and workshops so that they can grow and scale their business, because our core mission, of course, is to drive the creative economy. And so just this past February, we hosted a design thinking session in which we partnered with the private sector and other county agencies just to see how we can provide better coordination amongst all cross sectors so that we can support our creative entrepreneurs, as we call them. We look at the arts as the solution. They're both, the arts, we view them as an intervention and a prevention, and we not only help drive the county's creative economy, but we also assist with the with addressing community issues and using the arts as a catalyst to elicit change. And so whether that's film screenings, technical assistance, providing artists an opportunity to be able to get their work in front of the public, in front of an international audience, we are able to support them and help, again, scale our creative economy within Prince George's County.
And we're also doing so much work with creative placemaking, working with municipalities across the county, and want to continue that type of work, just creating a more robust creative infrastructure. We're working in Suitland, we're working in Fairmont Heights, we're working in Capitol Heights, we're working in Sea Pleasant, of course, Largo, continuing with the Blue Line Corridor strategy that we had started And so with that said, we appreciate the support of the county council for all the work that we're doing.
Thank you. Does that conclude your remarks for your budget presentation at this time? Okay. Colleagues, do you have any questions? You don't, Madam Chair?
Just one for the film and arts. What was the request, ma'am?
For our dedicated funding line, it was 275, and that is to support staff, to support our technology, Real Scout, and that is how filmmakers across the country can view our locations within Prince George's County. We are a unique area in that we have all different type of landscapes for filmmakers to be able to take advantage of. And so Real Scout is our technology to help us be able to be discovered amongst filmmakers across the country. Addition to be able to support our film festival, and then also technical assistance for our filmmakers.
And what's your current allocation?
We currently have 0. Yeah. The film office is at risk because we have no dedicated funding. And looking at our budget with our funding cuts and just the complex environment that we are with funding for the arts, we do not currently have any funding for our film office.
And what was the funding allocation last fiscal year?
One of our major funding resources was the ARPA grant. And that was $1 million that we received. And we have exhausted those funds and find ourselves in a situation as other agencies that had ARPA funding, realizing that that's not a funding pool that we can rely on again.
And then,
Yes.
okay, when you speak, if you can use the mic, it's okay.
And out of that ARPA funding, I believe 500,000, we provided grants to filmmakers.
And we also received 60,000 from the Maryland State Department of Commerce. We did receive that for FY25.
Madam Chair, is that, you're good?
Thank you.
Office of Budget and Management. Hello. Hi, good. My questions are really to you. Can you just go over for me between what we did last year in 26 and 27, what are the major changes for the Arts and Humanities Council? The film office was cut, basically. I can kind of get a sense of it holistically.
So from fiscal 26 to fiscal 27, there was no reduction in the compensation or fringe. The funding for 26 and 27 was the same amount that county grant funding we gave them before in 26. So there was absolutely no changes from 26 to 27 in the county grant funding.
Okay.
So in operating expense from fiscal 26 to 27, there actually is $113,800 increase in their operating expenditures.
I see that on page 744.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that they might be thinking about the funding, additional funding that they had for ARPA that
Right.
cover the expenses.
But ARPA, you're saying, so just because I want to be clear, and for the chair, because she has to take everything I do and then do her thing. So the ARPA covered the film office for the county before, or it just basically covered film?
Yeah.
And ARPA just doesn't anymore?
No.
But it's out. But to on our side, I just want, just so we're all clear, but on our side, we're funding the Arts and Humanities Council the same way we've always funded it, basically.
Correct.
Okay, but they're missing that opportunity, obviously, through ARPA, is the main difference.
Correct, that's correct.
Okay.
And we was, I think, what we was trying to look at to see if they can get additional revenue in that can actually cover the film additional staff member that they needed for the film division instead of the county grant funded increasing.
Okay, what revenue would that be?
They have multi areas that they receive grant funding. They actually get money from park and planning. And they get money from the Maryland
And I think
State.
you did that, like,
Council.
I did that, I think. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll have many things to discuss.
But here's one thing.
Yes,
that-
Ma'am CEO, go ahead.
That I'd like to bring up. We are in conversation with Park and Planning right now. And our 300,000 that was allocated for FY '26. We just found out today, just now, that there was a list and the allocation they're saying is 100,000 as opposed to 300,000. And so I just asked Mary to take a look into that.
I would believe the other book. Oh, the other book, yeah, I don't know. I need to look, yes, I don't have the part.
So
I don't have the park and planning budget.
I
with me.
just received notification back
Yes.
on that. I haven't had a chance to meet with Rhonda yet.
Yes.
That according to Park and Planning, that was part of their fiscal 2026 adopted budget. They had decreased it from 300,000 that they was going to give to the arts and humanity to $100,000. I just received that notification.
We just received it.
For fiscal 2026.
Okay, but the budget that has already passed?
Yes, correct.
So how could something change in the middle of the year?
That's what we're trying to find.
No, it's this, it didn't change during the middle of the year. I believe that somewhere there was no communication done to Rhonda that she was not receiving $300,000 in revenue. She was only getting $100,000 in revenue.
But Park and Planning told you that you were supposed to be getting 300,000? Who told you?
It's our project charge, our budget that was approved, OMB.
So when we passed the budget, OMB notified you, notified you that you had a $300,000 project charge?
No, that's not correct. That's incorrect. When Arts and Humanities submits their budget, they submit the whole budget, showing what the county is going to give as county grant, and they show us what additional revenue they're going to provide. On Rhonda's spreadsheet, she stated on the revenue section that Maryland Park and Planning is going to get her in revenue $300,000.
That was the request.
Yes,
I see. But that's not what she was awarded.
correct.
Okay.
I said, I know we put something, I just can't remember the dollar amount. So I'll go back and look.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This was really helpful.
I'll try to make sure this doesn't happen for 27, that she gets communication of what needs to be for 27.
Yes, I think that would be helpful. Well, this time, I think the colleagues have concluded their questions for the Arts and Humanities Council. Thank you all for the amazing work you do every day, and you are dismissed from your FY 2027 budget hearing. Yes, go ahead, Miss Sherry.
I just wanted to let or remind everybody that our next poet laureate will be named on April 22nd. Each of you received an invitation. It's at the Oxon Hill Library, and we hope that you will be able to attend. Not just the county's poet laureate, but the youth poet laureate and the Lucille Clifton Scholarship, Literary Scholarship.
Amazing. Thank you for keeping us engaged. We appreciate all of y'all, all three of you, your whole team's hard work. We do. And at this time, we'll go to our next agency, Mr. Tutt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next agency is the Department of Family Services, and we'll have the director, Ms. Elena Balam Butler and her team will join us now. And the policy analyst for this agency is Mr. David Noto, and he will present once everyone is seated. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Noto, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the PSHHS Committee. My name is David Noto, and the following is a presentation of the FY 2027 proposed budget for the Department of Family Services. You'll find this presentation on page 62 of your virtual binder and the associated report on page 55 of your binder. There it is. This slide shows a breakdown of the department's mission, core services, and administrative divisions. You'll also find this information on page 483 of the proposed budget book. This slide shows the strategic focus areas for the department for this coming fiscal year. The fiscal year 27 proposed budget is $21.08 million. That's an increase of $1.8 million over the fiscal year 26 budget. Just under 36% of the department's funding comes from the general fund, and 1.7% goes to the Domestic Violence Special Revenue Fund. Also included is a chart showing a supplemental request from the department for just over $1 million in grant funding. Among these grants is the ENOUGH grant, which stands for Engaging Neighborhoods, Organizations, Unions, Governments, and Households, which comes from the Governor's Office for Children. The department was awarded $476,500 as part of the ENOUGH grant in fiscal year 26. This page gives a brief overview of the general fund budget, including breakdowns of expenditures by category and division. There are proposed increases in contract services to support the nutrition for the elderly home delivered meals program, and the department intends to hire a new deputy director, the position being offset by 4 unfunded positions. Increases in the grant budget are largely driven by the Senior Care Older Americans Act Title III-B and Title III-C grants. Title III-C grants help support nutrition for the elderly in congregate meal sites and at-home delivery. Also included is the Domestic Violence Special Revenue Fund, which provides emergency funding for the immediate relocation of victims of domestic violence, which has had its funding remain steady at $365,000 for the past few years. You'll see the budgeted staff positions on this slide. Of the 189 positions, 115 are full-time positions. As of March of 2026, there are 10 full-time vacancies, 20 limited-term grant-funded vacancies, and 22 part-time vacancies. All of the part-time vacancies are part of the Foster Grandparents Program. And then finally, in conclusion, one challenge facing the department is the high vacancy and turnover rate among the limited-term grant-funded positions, as employees often leave for merit positions in nearby counties or municipalities. The department has submitted a request in fiscal year 2026 to convert 12 positions within the Medicaid waiver program from limited-term positions to merit positions, and has resubmitted that request again this year, but the request was not approved in the FY27 proposed budget. This concludes my presentation to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Noto. Now I'll turn to Director Bellon Butler. Thank you, Director.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chair Fisher, Vice Chair, as well as Councilmember Hunter, Councilmember and Chair Ariada, and Councilmember Burrows. It's nice to see you all again. Thank you for the opportunity you've presented to us to discuss the department's fiscal 27 budget proposal. Before I go into my remarks, I'd like to introduce the DFS senior leadership team at this time. Sitting to my immediate left is Mr. Anthony Walker, who is the Associate Director for our Management Services Division, which provides all of the administrative services to my organization. And to my immediate right would be Dr. Arethea Madison, who serves as a division manager for the Children, Youth, and Families Division, which is also our local management board. I'd like to also let you know that we are ecstatic about hiring our newest member of our leadership team, who couldn't be here, unfortunately. Her name is Ms. Lisa Bryant, and she is the new division manager as well as the AAA director for our Aging and Disability Services Division. This services and the programming that we provide to our residents would not occur without the collective work of this dedicated team of professionals. I am very proud to serve alongside them. So I'm going to skip our mission as well as the core services since that part has already been discussed. And I would like to just highlight, so the work that we do is provided through 5 operating divisions. That would be our Aging and Disability Services Division, which is the largest division in the department, our Children, Youth, and Families Division, Domestic Violence and Human Trafficking, Management Services, as I've indicated, and then finally the Office of Veterans Affairs. They've also already discussed our staffing complement, which I'll skip, so I'll go into just a few other comments, highlighting a few of our key accomplishments. We have completed the Healthy Aging 5-year strategic plan for older Prince Georgians in partnership with George Washington University. We're very excited about that because that will provide a blueprint for the next 5 years on how we deliver and look at service delivery throughout the county. The plan addressed 5 key findings that I just want to take a moment to introduce. Nutrition and food security was the first finding. Caregiver support, and that the caregivers and those who care for family members need a lot of additional support. Finance and financial literacy, home environment and housing, and finally health, medical, and subjective well-being. Additionally, I wanted to highlight that the agency continues to make tremendous strides with filling our key vacancies, including the hiring of the associate director position I just spoke of. Our contracts manager position was hired in November of 2025. We've just recently onboarded a budget analyst 4, and then 2 human resources positions, which includes our human resources manager. Our priorities for the remainder of this fiscal year are contracts. First and foremost, contracts, continuing to work with the Office of Procurement to move our remaining contracts through speed as quickly as possible. Number 2, filling the Domestic Violence and Human Trafficking Division Manager's position. This the position was vacated in December of 2025 because the manager unfortunately had to resign in order to care for a loved one. And then finally, the reorganization of the Management Services Division. This reorganization will address our current workflows, enhance process improvements, operationalize standard operating procedures, and increase the level of communication so that we can create a more cohesive team. The priorities for the department for fiscal 2027 are as follows. Filling the deputy director's position within the office of the director, which is a much needed vacancy. Continuing to work with our grant writer to identify and apply for additional grant funds to better leverage our current funding. Begin to address the strategic initiatives and implement the opportunities within the 5-year strategic plan, beginning at the initial levels of feasibility so that we are able to implement the existing systems, modest funding, and partnerships. And finally, we will train the department's entire workforce in excellent customer service delivery. That concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Director. Did you want anyone else from your team to present before we go to questions from the colleagues? Want to add anything? Okay.
Thank you.
Colleagues, do you have any questions at this time? Okay, I'll start with Chair Oyata. I usually save mine last.
Thank you. And thank you for your presentation and your work. I was looking at the analysis that comes from our policy team, and I know that there's some possibility for sending grant funding back, and I know part of that was due to staffing. So just wanted to see what are our strategies, I think, for FY27 to assist us with not leaving any funding on the table.
Thank you, Chair Oriata. That's a great question, and one that has given me a lot of time at night to be up. So the strategies would be threefold, actually. So number one, continuing to strengthen the relationship we have with the senior leadership team at the Office of Procurement and working with those staff so that we can get our contracts through in a more timely manner. That was a big percentage of those funds that were identified in the report. Secondly, working with the Office of Human Resources Management so that we can continue to get our positions filled timely.
And with procurement, I'm just curious, are these new contracts? Are the contracts annual in nature? I'm just wondering if there's a ability to do extensions that would help with the execution timeline.
These are actually a combination of several things. And so many of them, and that's a great question, many of them are grant funds that we have received in excess of 10, 15, 20 plus years. And so those relationships with those vendors, those services that we provide are consistent services that the agency has provided over a number of years. A few of them are actually new contracts. And so yes, it does take time in order to procure those services.
So is the delay mostly on the new contracts, not the existing ones, or are we just seeing delays in general with the contract timeline?
Yes, ma'am. It's delays in general. It's not with the new contracts.
And have we looked at trying to do like multi-year contracts with obviously caveat on us getting the funding? Because I get it because it's grant funding, so we can't guarantee it, but something that would help us extend without having to start the contract process over?
We have actually looked at being able to do on multi-year contracts and do amendments. I'll let Mr. Walker speak to that a little in just a minute because he is actually going to be better at speaking to it than I would be. But that is something that we have looked at, and we've talked to the Office of Procurement as well as Office of Management and Budget about that.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We do have our new procurement officer actually previously worked in the Office of Procurement, so he has been working very closely with their team trying to extend multi-year contracts.
And that'll be like a new thing that you guys would be
It
doing?
would definitely be a new thing to us.
Okay, so, but there's nothing you need from a capacity standpoint to move in that direction. It's just a procedure, policy type change.
Yes.
Okay. And then for the staffing, just curious because I know with both family services and with
No questions about that, Mr. Councilman?
No, you said I'm done. I'm gonna come in the room.
Wow. You're ready, Madam Chair.
Okay, well, hello, Prince George's County. I think we are back. Yes, we are back. We reconvened. We apologize that we had a technical difficulty here at the council administration building due to that park that they are building outside. So we are back with our amazing agency of the Department of Family Services. We are back to an informational meeting due to the fact it's just myself and Councilmember Hunter, and we are live stream, so I don't have to do the other part, right? Okay, so I'm good. At this time, Councilmember Hunter, do you want to do your questions or should I do mine first?
I'll ask mine.
Okay, yes, Councilmember Hunter.
Thanks for being patient with us. Good afternoon, everyone. In regards to with the fund for the domestic violence staying the same with the budget, are you seeing an increase in the reason as to why there isn't more funding needed?
I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Councilmember Hunter, I'm not sure I understand the question. Am I seeing an increase in? So we have been challenged this particular fiscal year with the resignation of our domestic violence and human trafficking division manager in December of 2025. So there are several initiatives that we will be relaunching in the next fiscal year, hoping that we'll successfully be able to hire a new domestic violence manager this month or next month. We have posted the position. It's been up once for 5 days. Unfortunately, did not yield enough candidates, and actually, I think minimally, maybe one as far as qualified candidates. So we've written a justification memo and asked for permission to repost that position because you can probably imagine, we're looking for someone who is very qualified and has a background, experience, and skill set in domestic violence and human trafficking. And so we're going to repost the position and hopefully be able to hire a candidate soon.
And I have a follow, is that okay?
go ahead.
Can I follow up on that, Councilmember Hunter? And then my follow-up with that for you, Madam Director, and I also brought up on, it's on page, for anyone at home following along, it's on page 497 on the big budget book. For basically the 365 for the domestic violence, one of the things, and I was gonna say, if you have the posting, our domestic violence work group meets after this at, I think, 1:30. So we would love to share it with all of our partners. The one thing that I think this council has seen is that domestic violence is going up. I think we saw, obviously, the stigmas around income and education level with the tragedy in Virginia with Lieutenant Governor Fairfax, and the tragedy with our colleague, the vice mayor of Coral Gables, who was killed by her husband. So I think the council wants to make sure that what you all are doing, and obviously our Family Justice Center is in tandem, is like one plan, one team. And I think for me, I know that the money is the same for each year, but I don't know if it really aligns with what we're seeing in our community locally. With domestic shootings are up 38% in our county, so that is the thing that is up in crime, and then what we're just seeing nationally, right? So I do think this budget cycle should reflect that the community clearly needs domestic violence support, and so I just wanted to put that out there for you, and then. When you do get, I guess you get permission to repost them like OMB. Yes. So when they do,
Human Resources.
Human Resources does that. If you can also share that, I think a lot of the council members are really passionate about domestic violence. If you can share that so we can share it with our networks and state partners, we'd appreciate it. And then my other question I had for you was.
Chair Fisher.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt.
Madam Director. No, you can respond to.
I just wanted to make sure that you and Councilmember Hunter were clear. So with regards to the 365 that you're looking at on page 497, those dollars are specifically for the shelter. So we have one domestic violence shelter within Prince George's County, and we always have a contract with them. So that vendor would be CCSI. And those dollars would go specifically.
So that only goes for the shelter?
Yes, ma'am.
So what money do you use for programming and like other resources, like, for a domestic violence victim or family?
So we have program dollars that are set aside as well as compensation for the staff there. And so there are a number of programs that we provide that we target specific populations. So the Momentum Conference, as well as the Men's Initiative, Men's Challenge Initiative, as well as the Father's Day Pledge. And there is specific programming that we do targeted to our female and our survivors as well. And then we also have targeted programming for our youth, and that's provided through a curriculum called Safe Dates, which is a healthy dating curriculum designed to introduce youth to what is acceptable behavior and what's not acceptable behavior. It would be on page 495.
Did I hear you say that there's only one domestic violence shelter in the county?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Okay.
And so I just wanted you all to understand that those funds were actually specifically for the shelter, and the total contract would be $385,000.
How many beds does that shelter give us?
That's
or
a great
like
question,
capacity?
and I believe that the last time I asked, don't quote me, but I think it's 44.
Okay.
but they do provide services to women as well as men and their children.
Yeah, because men can be victims too.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's why I just wanted to mention that.
Yes.
And how long do they typically stay in these, in the home, the
In the shelter, it varies. It could be as, as small or as 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, but it could also be as long as, several months. It just depends on the case by case situation.
Thank you. And then, if Madam Director, if I could point you to page 501, something else that I talk a lot about is our seniors and how they can be subject to, scamming for sure and elder abuse. And I see that we don't have any, I guess I'm confused, and maybe OMB can help me understand with the elder abuse. 3B, it says it has the 141 in parentheses, but it says minus 100%. Does that mean it's not being funded? Or what does that mean? Or if someone could answer. Okay, yeah.
The way that the budget is, the way the budget's presented, all of the Title III funds are now in FY '27 showing up in the administrative. So 3B administration now totals 822,300. So that's all the programs rolled up together so that we have a little more flexibility.
Oh, so where do I go to find the programs again? I'm sorry.
Under FY '27 proposed Title 3B administration.
Oh, so it's all in there.
Yes. It
So
gives us a
elder
little more
abuse, your guardianship, your information and referral is financed by administration 3B.
Yes.
Okay, so it's all in admin. And so just for the council and obviously for the public to know, the programming you're doing on elder abuse will stay the same for this upcoming year? Your services you provide for elder abuse will stay the same?
Yes.
And what with this elder and just for the public, obviously scamming is like I got scammed into spending my money and it's like a one-time thing. Elder abuse is like a long-term abuse of usually of the senior, and it can vary from physical to, I don't know, someone manipulates the senior into signing off all of their autonomy in their house and other things. Is there a specific like focus on elder abuse that you all have in the county? And, do you all know about, what is the thing that our seniors are most vulnerable towards in our county?
We actually have ombudsmen that actually assist, families and assist, seniors and individuals who are in assisted living facilities or nursing homes, et cetera, who have concerns or have, issues or things that they need to have provided assistance with. We have several ombudsmen that work within our Division of Aging and Disability Services.
Okay. And in our state, Madam Director, maybe you can help me. I know the law, but not all areas of the law. How are we on, when seniors will go to assisted living facilities and sometimes if they don't have a family member, things can go awry. What do we do locally about that? Or in our state, is it just all state regulated and it's just something we don't engage in?
Well, I think that's where our ombudsman would come in.
And they go and check?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we get calls from different sources all the time. It could be a family member, it could be an actual official, I'll just say an elected official, but we get, calls all the time that they may have concerns about service provision at a particular assisted living facility at a nursing home. And so we'll have to go and actually check just to make sure things are being run properly.
Okay, great. And then if they're not being run properly, who gives them any kind of like citation or enforcement? Is that the state?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And I felt like, I don't know, I feel like I'm having deja vu, but I feel like we talked about that they're not funded well, or they're not really having the people to check these facilities properly.
Yeah, I can't speak to the funding, Chair, but I can say that it's through the Office of Healthcare Quality at the state, and they do have a significant workload because they are providing these services throughout the entire state of Maryland.
Right.
but I'm not sure what their funding sources are.
I'll check in on that again. Can you say the name of it for me again, Madam Director?
Office of Healthcare Quality.
Office of Healthcare.
Do,
Go ahead, Councilmember Hunter.
do we have any statistics on reports for abuse in the residential, not the residential, but the senior assistant living facilities?
I don't believe, we don't keep those type of statistics, but we can certainly get those type of statistics from the state.
Yeah, I would like a copy of that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I think people are, also there was like a movie that came out and people were like really into seniors. I forgot where it was. But anyway, I think residents are more aware of how these sort of folks can happen, and seniors can get, their autonomy signed off to somebody else, and then there's a lot of abuse. And we're noticing in our area, a lot of the seniors, some of their children are not here. And so we just wanted to make sure about that. So I appreciate you for that. Other than,
I just want to
go ahead, Madam
really quickly,
Director.
we also partner with, so we have several boards and commissions that fall under the Department of Family Services, and one of them would be the Agent Advisory Committee. And so the department, that specifically the Agent and Disability Services Division, partners with that committee to provide information and education. And we do workshops and things of that nature on elder abuse. And so we actually, I believe it's this month. If it's not this month, it's next month. But we're doing a World Elder Abuse event, and that focus will be on all types of abuse that could occur potentially.
Please, yeah, if you could please share that to the council members. I think they would love to come, and our seniors are really important to all of us, and so we would love that opportunity. And then my last thing, I know that for social services really focuses more on our homeless population than you all do. And I was just wondering though, for the with drug addiction, and would that also be for social? Will they do more of that for drugs in our county social services than you all do in family services?
I actually believe that would fall under the health department.
Health department is only
know that
drugs?
because I used to be employed there.
Okay, I will deal with that when I do. I think the health department does come before me too, so I will talk to them about that part. Okay, well, I think that's about it for us on questions. You have finished your FY27 mandated budget review. We appreciate everything that Family Services does for our families, and yeah, I think it would be great. My only thing I would love for you to think about, not that you have a ton of money to think about all these things. So it's so funny because me and Ms. Hunter were talking about it. I know you do the programming for the dating, like what safe dating is for young people. But as a millennial in our county, I do think that there's opportunity for you to partner maybe in something a little bit more innovative, maybe more, it could be with churches, but I think it also could be, online dating, and like the things that are out there are pretty scary. And, men and women are meeting people that are complete strangers. And I think they're also, I would say maybe ages 25 to 55 in our county who haven't gotten married yet. It's like a different thing. And I think they forget, like they almost need the same training that you're giving the teens, right? Especially I think mentally with COVID. I have a joke with my friend group that, I'm not gonna say my age, but whatever age you are after COVID, I'm 2 years younger because, I was trapped in COVID. So I do think there's opportunity to do that. And I also say that in light of my colleague Nancy, who passed in Coral Springs. She got married, I think, to her killer only 2-3 years ago, like literally same age range as me. They were only married 2 years, and now she's in the ground, right? So I think just thinking that it's only teens, and just thinking, well, these are adults, so that they know, or they have the skills or the empowerment to figure that out, I think is a misnomer for people, I would say like 25 to 55, especially if they weren't in any relationships with COVID. COVID has really, really set a lot of our social norms. And I think has set people back a little bit. And so I know you have a lot on your plate, but if it's something you all would think about doing in our county for that next generation kind of coming in, it would be good. And people in their second marriages too. I see a lot of, with my older sorority sisters and other women and men too, they're in their second marriage and it was such a thing to get to the second marriage. And now they might not be in the best situation that they thought on that second chapter, thinking it would be a better chapter. And it actually turned out not to be such a better chapter. And now they feel extra vulnerable to leave because they're older. So I do think there's a lot in that space that I would love to see you all, maybe stretch, maybe innovate, maybe partner with like a younger nonprofit or just something for you to opine with experts. I'm not an expert, but to opine with your field, if you could think about.
I think that's a great idea, Chair, and I actually think it's a great idea on so many different levels. And I think actually, honestly, we could even look beyond 55. I do think that people tend to believe that as you get older, from a chronological standpoint, that you become wiser, but that's not necessarily always the case, and you certainly can actually always teach everyone new things. So thank you for that.
And I think like like Sigma Gamma Rho and AKA the sororities in the county, I think would be a great partnership to start with because they have such diverse age range within each chapter, and I think they want to see women have the skills. Not obviously men can be victims too, but I think that'd be a good place to start where they're already established. I think they would love to see that. So I think that would be great. Thank you so much. And so now this time we'll move to our final agency for the day, and that's the great Department of Corrections. Director Clark, come on up. If any other committee members of the Public Safety, Health and Health and Human Services would like to come back, you're more than welcome to come back to committee.
Next on the agenda is the Department of Corrections, and we've been joined at the table by the director, Mr. Terrence Clark, and his team. And I will defer to him at the appropriate time to introduce his team. But first, we'll have a budget review by the budget analyst, Mr. David Williams.
Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. David Williams with the Budget and Policy Analysis Division, here with a brief overview of the Department of Corrections fiscal year 2027 proposed budget. Here you can view an organizational chart, agency mission statement, core services, and some notable accomplishments and the completion of renovations to housing units 5 and 6. Here are some of the agency's key priorities headed into fiscal year 2027. The fiscal year 2027 proposed budget for the Department of Corrections stands at $106.4 million, representing a 5.6% increase from the previous fiscal year. The department will be making a supplemental budget request for $3 million for fiscal year 2026 obligations, and some of those obligations are articulated to the side there. Here you can view a breakdown of the agency's general fund, with compensation proposed at $55.4 million, operating expenses proposed at $19.9 million, and fringe benefits proposed at $30.8 million. The total grant fund allocation for the department remains unchanged from the previous fiscal year. You can view the major funding sources and amount of grant funds returned for fiscal year 2025. Here you can view the staffing complement for fiscal year 2027, making no change from the previous fiscal year. The agency has a sworn vacancy rate of 27%, a civilian vacancy rate of 32.7%, and a 28.6% agency-wide vacancy rate. The agency has achieved 0% vacancy rate for the grant-funded staff. The agency has noted challenges such as overcrowding, dilapidated infrastructure, and arduous onboarding processes that negatively impact service delivery. Here you can view a more comprehensive view of said challenges. And in conclusion, I'd like to thank the Department of Corrections for the ease of communication and all their hard work this fiscal year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. And now I'll turn to Director Clark for his part of the presentation.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Fisher and Councilperson Hunter. With me at the table, with me at the table is, I want to introduce my staff first. I have Deputy Director Rodney Brockenbrow, who is my Deputy Director of Operations. I have Division Chief of Support Services, Jonathan Oroko, and I have Dr. Gregory Bierstop, who is my Program Services Division Chief. And to my right, I have Melvina Walker, who is the Assistant Division Chief of Support Services. The Department of Corrections delivers a comprehensive, evidence-based programming model designed to enhance institutional safety and reduce recidivism. Fiscal year 2026 participation reflects strong engagement across substance use treatment, education, and behavioral intervention programs. High demand services such as religious services with 1,044 participants and law library services with over 10,000 requests demonstrate a clear need for structural and meaningful engagement opportunities within our facilities. Our programming is intentionally designed to target criminogenic risk factors, including substance abuse and behavioral decision-making. These interventions are critical public safety investments that reduce reoffending and lower long-term system cost. Currently, the department is managing 199 vacancies, including 132 sworn positions and 67 civilian positions. There's a direct and measurable correlation between staffing shortages and increased overtime expenditures. In fiscal year 2025, overtime costs reached approximately $13.4 million, and we are currently trending over $10.7 million. Due to these vacancies, we must rely heavily on overtime to maintain minimum staffing levels. When staffing levels are insufficient, access to programming is reduced due to movement limitations. Idle time among the population increases, behavioral incidents rise. Staff are forced into reactive responses, further driving overtime cost. Conversely, when staffing is stabilized, program participation increases. Institutional behavior improves, incident response demands decline, overtime expenditures are reduced. Every vacancy contributes to increased operational pressure. Investing in staffing will directly reduce overtime costs while improving safety, programming access, and overall operational stability. We recently made progress by bringing housing units 5 and 6 back online following renovation of those 2 housing units. Additionally, we plan to expand the operations at Hyattsville Regional Processing from 1 single shift to a 24-hour operation, and that should start at the beginning of the fiscal year. We are also developing plans to utilize the Community Release Center to support a family reunification program, further strengthening reentry outcomes and community reintegration. Ultimately, effective programming reduces recidivism by addressing the root causes of criminal behavior. Substance use treatment reduces drug-related offenses. Education improves employment readiness. Behavioral programs reduce violence and impulsivity. Reentry initiatives strengthen community reintegration. And fewer individuals returning to custody means fewer victims and safer communities. And thank you if there's any questions.
Thank you, Director Clark. Do you have anyone from your team that wants to add to that, or you feel satisfied with that presentation?
I feel satisfied, but if they
Okay.
would like to add something,
Okay, seems like no. Councilmember Hunter, do you have anything before I do? do, but you can come back to me. You should. Okay, you sure? Okay, great. Well, thank you, Director Clark. As you know, I'm always so passionate about the Department of Corrections. I would say, you want us to arrest people, I don't know where you want us to take them. So I'm very, very glad. And I think I'm really grateful for your attention to the Hyattsville processing. I think if residents really realized how that was out during COVID and our officers were driving all the way to Upper Marlboro to process anyone who was charged in Laurel, Hyattsville, Riverdale community, I think you would have heard a louder disappointment. So I think it's so important. So we're grateful that you're going to be trying to get it full back in this July.
Yes.
So excited about that. And right now it's open how many days again?
It's open every day, except for it's only open on one shift.
On one shift.
One overnight.
Overnight, yes. So for evening, which was good. And you expanded that a lot, and I want to give you your credit because I think we started like Thursday and weekends. The last administration, you expanded. So I'm very grateful to you on that. The one thing I wanted to get to in your budget was and you've been doing a great job with, having your new recruitment classes. So I guess it's a question for you and also maybe a question for OMB. So you have budgeted how many sworn officers that you need right now? What's that number for us?
Right now, we are 132. We have 132 sworn vacancies.
Sworn vacancies?
Yes.
And that, anyone in the big book know where I can find that? I'm in the big budget book. Let me look. 401. Thank you. Okay, I am here. So how many? Oh, I see. So 132 are vacant out of what? So what do we have that's not vacant?
We have, 300 and...
I see here.
331?
31?
330.
So it's just the 487 minus the 132 you don't have.
Yes.
Would that be correct?
And we're budgeted
Where's my calculator?
We're budgeted for to be able to hire 50 in each fiscal year. And we may need to at some point increase that number to about 60.
So technically, if you have 132 sworn vacancy of the 487 that was in 2076, which is also seeing the same number in 27, you have 355 people working right now. That feels high.
That's about it.
Is it? 358?
Yes.
So you have 358 working sworn. So you're saying the 132 that's vacant, I know you're doing your best to fill it.
Yes.
Is that still the goal? Or if the council was looking at it, let's say I lowered you to 120 sworn, let's just say. Can you live with that? Like, how does that work? Because it's empty. So but you always feel like that 132 left, you need that 487 complement to be successful.
I do believe we need it because those numbers are based on what previously went on. Corrections has been expanded.
Yes.
So with the reopening of the Community Release Center, which happened at a year ago, or a little bit more than a year ago at this point. The reopening of the Community Release Center, now Hyattsville going 24 hours, dedicating more staff to our DET, which is Development, Education, and Training.
Mm-hmm.
We are expanding.
Okay.
And the addition of cost-saving things such as the family reunification programs that we're trying to add to our programming complement.
Yes. I only ask you that because as other council members look at it, right, they want to ask, why are we allocating it if it's not filled? That's always, and what's the space of that? So I understand that. And then Director, what do you feel like? I mean, I'm at your graduations a lot, so I know you're doing it. I know you're doing the work, and I'm proud of that. What, how long do you think it's going to take you to get to full complement, you think? 2 years?
It depends on how many people we're able to bring in. And I'll be hard pressed to give you to say 2 years we would be filled, but we'll be doing a lot better.
Okay.
Because we are, like, we have a class that's starting on the 4th, which has 22 people in that class. And that'll be our last class for this fiscal year. And then we'll have another one starting it, immediately at the beginning of the next fiscal year.
Okay. And then I wanted to ask you all, I know that you get a big grant from the Edward Bryn Memorial Justice Assistance, but I also know, and I haven't gone through, I do sleep, so I haven't gone through everything that passed with the budget in Annapolis, but you and I were there for, the Moore administration was going to put X amount into public safety. Is there anything that you're getting? Because this is from DOJ. So is there anything that we're getting from state budget support, or we're applying for anything? Is there anything available for us from the state? I'm sorry, Ms. Walker, Assistant Chief Walker. Thank you.
At this time, we have not applied for anything from the state, but we do look to make sure that if there's anything out there available, we will try to apply for it.
Okay, well, if you all don't mind, and I still haven't talked to OMB is here, but so I guess it is something for our wonderful Director of Fair to think about. I've never put a bill in for it, but I always say there should be like one public safety grant writer that's out there attacking and like almost paying for themselves eventually every public safety grant we can get. So we were at that big announcement at that College Park Barrack, and I'm trying to wonder what money did we get. So that's my question. We were all there. I think you were there too. We were standing next to each other.
Yes.
So when I look at the budget book and I don't see anything that says state of Maryland, and we were at the College Park Barrack, that makes me question. Now, I'm not saying the police department or the sheriff is not getting stuff, and I'll look as they come before me, but I'm just saying that I want us to be vigilant. I know that's a partnership, because I think it is hard, I know, for the public safety agencies to do it yourselves, because some of your administration is not as grant writing versed. But as the fourth floor. But that's why I'm glad Director Fair is here. I've never put a bill in requiring it, but I do think, having one public safety grant writer for the county would hopefully yield a benefit, and they end up paying for themselves over time, because I don't understand how we're not getting any state support on corrections.
I would support that idea as well for the one grant writer. One of the things that I had that we was discussing was trying to hire one, at least use one of our 1,000-hour positions to get a part-time grant writer, somebody that could assist us with that.
Okay, well, it's something I'll look into legislatively, but they also can just do it if they want to do it too. So that's another thing. Okay, other than that, is there anything, Dr. Hunter, do I need to go back to you before I end? Yes, go ahead, Councilmember, sorry.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the presentation. For the reunification, what services are offered at that time they're released?
Right now, it's an initiative. It has not been fully developed yet.
Okay.
It's what we're developing right now, and we plan on moving ahead with it, with some of our community partners, support from some of our community partners, the health department, and who were some of the other people, Melvina, that was involved?
We're starting
The public library as well.
Yeah. This is kind of library. A program called Strengthening Families. We work with them as well. You want to talk about the Urban One? Also, Urban One, who wants to do a path to talk about the services that we provide at the jail as well.
Yeah, Urban One wanted to partner with us to do a podcast to educate the public on different everything that goes on inside of corrections. Basically, when it comes to corrections, the average person, if they think of corrections as being part of public safety, they only think of the detention side. They do not realize that how many lives are actually saved when people come through our intake process who may be suffering from an addiction and have to go through a withdrawal, a dangerous withdrawal, and have to be monitored. They don't realize how many other programs that we have drug treatment. And I'll let Dr. Beer stop talk about the drug treatment program. We have so many programs, that life-saving programs, life-changing programs that can make a difference in people's lives. And when they're released in a much better condition than when we received them, both physically and mentally, which would allow them an opportunity to re-enter and have an opportunity to thrive and be a well-working part of our community.
So I'm assuming mental health is a
Absolutely.
huge part of the process when they come inside.
Yes, ma'am. And we recently have developed a close partnership with the health department, and Dr. O and her team has been working with my team. Deputy Director Brockenbrow here has spearheaded that partnership.
One more question.
Can I let Dr.
Oh, yeah,
Pierce
yeah.
comment on that?
Yeah.
I'll go back.
So, as Director Clark was mentioning, we also want to mention we pretty much have a treatment unit, and that's our Housing Unit 15. But we also have support that comes in NA, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. They're not just in the community, but they come into the facility and have support groups. In terms of the mental health piece, we are partnered with a number of people, especially what's exciting right now is the University of Chicago School of Professional Psychology DC campus. We presented there, and in fact, their whole cohort wants to work in the jail. And when they come in, they will be assisting with treatment groups and individual sessions, as well as some of the evidence-based curriculums like MTRIM, Men's Trauma Recovery Empowerment Model. We have TAMAR. So as you know, trauma is very significant for our incarcerated population. So we have we also have Bowie State. So we have a number of individuals that are coming in. Trinity University in DC, we have an intern interested. So although we are not paying them, they appreciate the clinical hours towards their degrees and their graduate work.
Thank you. One more question, and it's not regarding budget, but with all the overtime for the officers, how are we taking care of them with fatigue?
We have recently revisited our position on granting time off. So we have, and I want to be careful how I say this, but we've went over our limits of what we generally would allow people to be off. And generally, when people want a day off, they're able to get it in corrections. So we're not, burning our staff out to that point, And the other thing that we're doing to alleviate that is we're constantly recruiting and trying to bring people in. That relieves that pressure on the staff, so they're not forced to do overtime. Most of our overtime is not forced at this point, but it's a lot of volunteer overtime at this point. But when we continue to bring the new people in, that helps us. It helps all the way around. It helps with the staff to reduce the stress on the staff. It reduces the tension between staff and our population, because the population is engaged now. They're having programs and they're able to get out of their cell. They're not restricted to their cell for long periods of time.
Right.
So, and lastly, and I know you didn't ask me this, but the last thing I'm gonna say is we believe in involving the community in our reentry efforts because, and we have a ton of volunteers that come in for religious services, for all types of program. We bring volunteers in from the community to work with our population. They're vetted. And the reason why we believe so strongly about involving the community is because they need to see what's going on inside the facility. And they need to be part of the reentry efforts for other people returning back because they're going to be in your neighborhood. They're going to be your neighbors. So why not? So, and that was it. I didn't mean to be long-winded.
No, that's okay. Thank you for sharing how you're still taking care of the officers while they're taking care of the folks that are housed there. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Hunter. And just speaking of that, I have a question about, it says for your full-time positions, and also I would love to have an org chart of your positions by classification. Who does what would be helpful if you can send that to me.
That's no problem.
Okay. So I know who to contact for what. You only have one psychologist. Is that right?
Staff psychologist?
Full-time? Yeah.
Yes.
And that psychologist is for the population or for our correctional officers?
She's for the correctional officer.
She's for the officers,
She's a staff
right?
psychologist.
Staff psychologist.
Yes.
And then, so what psychologist is there for the actual,
Employee support unit?
no, for the actual defendants or people being housed?
There's
Some could be innocent, some are found guilty, some are waiting, depends where they are.
their psychologist is part of our contracted medical service provider.
So it's under the medical service
Yes.
provider contract?
Yes.
Okay. And in that contract, how much mental health support are we offering in the facility? Also, before you answer that question, how many people are we servicing or housing at corrections right now?
We have approximately 1,000
1,000
in custody right now.
1,000 in custody.
It might be slightly under.
All right. Is that normal for us, Director?
Right now, we've been.
That's about
hovering around
normal?
that, yes.
Is that normal for in a 1,000,000-person county, 1,000? In your line of work? I know you used to be in Philly and other places.
Well, our census was a lot higher in Philadelphia than it is here. So
Oh, okay.
I would say it's probably normal.
Okay. And then with that, yes, if you could tell me, so in our contract for medical, for the 1,000 people that we house for all different stages, what is their mental health support in that contract?
So,
Sorry about that.
Here, Brock, use that.
Yeah, you can use that one. There you go.
All right, so the contract calls for a psychologist, and as well, we have 4 individuals that report to the psychologist. We also have individuals, Dr. Bearstop had talked about the interns that come into the facility. They help to supplement or support those services. But I would have to honestly say that mental health services is just not enough currently to support the mental health population that we have in the facility. I wouldn't say that it's symptomatic of Prince George's County. I would say that this is a national crisis with mental health institutions having closed all over the country. Jails have become the de facto mental health institutions, but have not been financially supported to do so.
Right. And where in the budget do we have Ms. Wake from OMB? What page in the budget is this contract for the? How much is it? Sorry, I can't
Please use
hear.
the mic, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it should be under your operating on page 402 for your proposed, and it should be under the 19,941,700. It's included in that number.
Oh, okay, so it's under that. That's where the contract would be as a part of the operating cost.
Yes.
It's 7.3 million.
Is that contract out of that 19? Who are we using for that?
We're currently using Yes Care, but that medical solicitation has very recently gone out, so we'll be looking for a new provider.
Provider.
Yes.
So maybe not new, but you put it out and that Yes Care can reapply and others can apply, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, I guess as you do that, if you can think about, but so you're saying you technically would need to increase operating. It's going up by 1.3, but that's not that much. Okay. All right. Okay, other than that, I don't think I have any other questions for you all this time. The only thing I wanted to bring up to the directors, to your, just to help me understand it better in the budget. On page 403, I use the big budget book. It says your compensation is going down. Not necessarily like you, but I guess not you, but like your, I guess your office. Okay. And so were you aware of that? And like, do you see that? And maybe, am I reading that wrong, OMB? Ms. Wake, am I reading that wrong? It has.
I think what you're referring to, that I've had a recent retire.
Is that what that is?
Yes. So it's really not. It's down for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Ms. Wake, on page 403, do you see what I'm talking about? On the top, what is that about? Yes, easily.
I would have to research that. I just was assigned.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I want to know what that, as I bring the budget to the whole council, I want to know what that big decrease is. Because, and anyone from our team, Mr. Williams, maybe I'm reading wrong. It says it's down 22%, and it says it's almost $800,000. It's 783, 6 zeros. And I just want to know what it is.
For my office, 800 and some thousand.
This is Andrew Pierce from OMB as well. Just to clarify, the overall compensation is going up by 3.2 million, as well as the fringe. It's just that one division. So it looks like maybe there's a reallocation between the divisions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, during the staff review, corrections had told us that there were some internal musical chairs happening, and in addition to the retirement, some of the staff had been reappropriated from the office into other positions in which they were needed.
Oh yeah, we're good. Thank you for looking out.
Thank you so much. I don't want y'all coming back to me later and be like, there was a cut and I didn't know. I'm just saying it says Office of the Director, and I'm just seeing minus 22%. So I'm just making sure you know and I know we're all here. So it was just a reallocation. So you just took that money from the director's office and you put it somewhere else?
Yes, that we go through and kind of look at all the positions across the whole organization and make sure everything is lined up, actuals versus what was in the budget, so that the new budget has kind of the right numbers. And then in addition, some retirements and things like that.
Okay, because I don't know many directors that like their own office a little smaller. I'm just saying.
Well, Council Chair,
Good for you though.
You know what is? There are units that are considered part of my office, like the Office of Professional. The responsibility and legal affairs.
Okay.
They come under my office. The employee support services unit with the staff psychologist, they too come under my office. So it's other units, and that's why when you kind of threw me off.
Sorry.
22.
Well, it's like the budget book is like, what's funny about the budget is like we have the staff prepares what questions you answer. That's I would guess like synthesized, right? Then you have this one, but even this one, there's a bigger book, right? Because it has the detail. So even this big book is not letting you know how the things moved unless you ask or talk about it. So I just wanted to make sure because it said Office of the Director. So, and you're the
appreciate
director. Okay. So other than that, that closes my questions for you all. Thank you for participating in your FY 2027 budget presentation. You are dismissed and we have concluded your budget presentation for the County Council.
Thank you for having us. We
Thank
appreciate
you all so much. Thank you for your patience waiting. And Mr. Tutt?
No further business. The committee will meet again on April 27th. We'll have Homeland Security, the Office of the Sheriff, and the Health Department.
Awesome. We are adjourned. Thank you all so much.